Hello pilots! Although it's been a few days since it was released, in this video I still want to dedicate myself to update 0.30.9. The missile pack indeed brings 6 new missiles. Furthermore, the following were adjusted. Flight characteristics of the airframes have been fine-tuned. RCS and drag are now dynamically calculated. There are no laser targeting systems. New armament variants, new displays in the HUD, new sound and visual effects, many adjustments for balancing and fewer bugs. The entire patch notes are very extensive and certainly worth a look. In this video I want to limit myself to what I have experienced myself or heard from the pilot community. What's certainly interesting for all pilots are the changes to the calculation of RCS and drag. Both now take into account the weapons or equipment carried externally by the aircrafts. Before the update, a fixed value was set based on the aircraft's configuration at takeoff. Even if weapons were fired during a mission, RCS and drag remained unchanged. With the update, this has changed. No RCS and drag dynamically decrease when corresponding weapons are fired. However, the RCS and drag values cannot drop as low as they would if the aircraft had taken off without weapons, as the pylons remain on the wings even after the weapons are fired. Nevertheless, I greatly welcome this change. As a lover of the Chicane, I want to start right off with it. In this update, the Chicane was given 2 new missiles and the jammer, which can now be optionally equipped. Besides the Chicane, the Cricket and Tarantula can also equip the ECM jammers. Initially I thought I wouldn't need a jammer, but back then I didn't know how good the new mechanics of the AHR missiles are. Incoming active radar-guided missiles are only recognized as a threat by the internal onboard computer at a distance of 12 kilometers, so you don't have endless time to react. For infrared-guided or optical missiles, the warning distance is limited to 5 kilometers. Therefore, I currently mostly take the jammer with me. It also helps in getting rid of incoming missiles during low-altitude flights. I find the new ATP missiles with their 8 kg of TNT very strong. They have less explosive power than the AGM-48s with their 9 kg, but they are smarter. They always approach targets in a way that hits the target's weak spot. Tanks are hit directly from above, which ensures a kill. Due to their low detonation effect, they are not suitable for destroying buildings, but the 30mm cannon can still be relied upon for that. Linchpins now require laser target designation. The Chicane can simultaneously designate a maximum of 4 targets with its own laser system. Targets designated by laser are marked with a red cross in the targeting view. However, the laser targeting system doesn't just bring complications. Since the current patch, I have managed several times to shoot down Chicanes, Tarantulas and Crickets from a distance of 5 to 7 kilometers with linchpins. For this, the targets should be flying at less than 200 kilometers per hour or be on a collision course with you. When firing, you must be aligned with the targets. Afterward, you can turn away, but the line of sight must be maintained so that the laser designation is not interrupted. So popping up from behind a mountain, firing all linchpins at 20 targets and immediately diving back down is no longer possible. But in return, the linchpins now have a greater range, so they can be effectively fired at 7 kilometers. Outside the range of SAM sights, anvils and aero sentry specs. The patch note states that body lasing is possible, meaning you can engage a laser marked target from a teammate. I tried it with G11A without success. If someone can explain to me how this works, please leave a comment with an explanation. Thanks. Besides the linchpins, the Chicane can now also carry kingpins. The larger variant of the linchpins have 5 times the explosive power. Instead of the 3 kg of the linchpins, the kingpins have a whopping 10 kg. They also have an even greater range, which in my opinion makes them very suitable for attacking ships. For vehicles I continue to use linchpins, as I can simply carry more of them. Also fantastic is the new possibility to carry ATP-1s and IRM-S1s internally in the chicane. This allows carrying ECMs on the outer stubs, linchpins on the inner ones, and then ATP-1s against tanks or IRM-S1s for self-defense internally. After the radar detection limit of 20 meters above the ground was abolished, the AHR missiles now also have better sensors. They can now perceive targets much better against the ground or mountains. Therefore, I am very grateful for the new jammer for the chicane. So much for the innovation of the chicane, but what else is there? Oh, for example, a new radar-guided missile with higher speed and range than the size. The so-called AAM-36 Scimitar, with an explosive power of 20 kg, can engage targets at a distance of 150 km and at a speed of Mach 4. Since the enemy only gets an internal warning when the missile is 12 km away, this can mean that you have less than 9 seconds to evade the missile. The Scimitar can be carried by Vortex, Revoker and Ifrit. The new IRM-S2s are a bit more modest. With an explosive power of 7 kg, they position themselves between the S1s with 3 kg and the S3 with 11 kg. The same applies to their range. It achieves 10 km, which is exactly between the 5 km of the S1 and the 15 km of the S3 variant. For reasons I cannot yet comprehend, currently only the chicane can carry the S1 variant, so all other airframes default to the S2 variant. Also brand new are the TUSCO B missiles. These use a ballistic trajectory to thus achieve enormous range and high damage potential with a 300 kg warhead. For this they climb to an altitude of about 70 km and then fall onto the target. They can only be effectively defended against with Stratolances and bolt strikes. Assuming successful radar detection, these have the required range to intercept the incoming missiles in time. TUSCO B missiles can be used well against buildings if these are not adequately protected. The TUSCO B can be carried by the Revoker, Vortex, Ifrit and Darkreach. Finally, the new superweapon, Piledriver. This tactical ballistic missile can only be fired from the Darkreach. In return, its firepower and range are enormous. The Piledriver comes in two variants. The HE variant has an explosive power of 1 ton, the nuclear variant has an explosive power of 20 kiloton. Both can engage targets at a distance of 250 kilometers. The combat technique is very simple. If the enemy targets are known, the Darkreach pilot climbs to a low altitude, accelerates as much as possible and sends his Piledrivers to their way. Immediately afterward, the Darkreach can be maneuvered for landing for a new run. It might become relevant at some point that this power also has its price. The unit price of the HE variant is $8.35 million and the price of the nuclear variant is $36.5 million, so more than that of a chicane. As far as the flight behavior of the airframes is concerned, I haven't noticed anything with the chicane. However, something has changed with the jets. Some now reach a higher top speed and maneuver slightly differently. The feedback on the adjustments is consistently positive. I'm not sure if it's a gimmick that you can now carry 2 demolition bombs with a Tarantula. Sure, the bombs have enormous damage potential. One is enough to sink a large ship, but in what scenario does a Tarantula have the time and peace to drop a bomb over an enemy ship? But the more possibilities we as pilots get, the more fun it can become, so I welcome the fact that Tarantulas can carry demolition bombs. A lot has also happened in the HUD. Speed is now always displayed in Mach and kilometer or feet. Also the AOA angle continues to be displayed. When dropping bombs, it not only shows you when you should drop the bomb, but also how long they will take to fall. Outside of the hut, the game's destruction effects have been improved. More debris now falls to the ground, there are new effects upon water contact, and landing gear now has different squeal tones that they can sing with. For me, this enhances the soundscape and visuals of the game even further. In my opinion, the update has turned many things upside down, well, at least shaken them up thoroughly. As a chicane pilot, I have to learn new attack patterns and routes. I suspect it's similar for jet pilots. This was really irritating at first, but I had a lot of fun getting to know the new content. Currently, I still have many question marks and am practicing and trying out different things. For me, the update keeps the nuclear option hype alive. I'm sure I've forgotten to mention some things. Let me know in a comment, then everyone can benefit. In this sense, oh no, there's something else. Currently there's a rather annoying bug. Ships just drive wherever they want. Therefore, there's no more movement on the sea in some missions. But that's it now. Fly safe.